Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grapperinos, the wrestling pizzeria where we serve you a slice of probably next week on Smackdown. I'm Bryon, and joining me in this endeavor is someone who can probably be. I don't know. I forgot what to say here. Maybe Mike Gable? Say hi, Mike.
Yeah, I'm Mike Gable, formerly known as El Grande, El Venti Americano. There you go. Somebody's Starbucks order.
Venti Americano. Wow. So what is that? Like the smallest American?
I think Venti in Starbucks lingo is the largest size. So.
Oh, large.
Which is interesting because
the biggest
because his name is El Grande Americano, which does mean big, but I mean Venti is actually bigger than Grande in Starbucks lingo. I don't know why. Starbucks is a very weird size lingo. It's like tall is the smallest one. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why can't you be normal? Like every other coffee shop. It's like small, medium, large. Starbucks is like tall, grande, venti. Who came up with this?
Well, and then there's the people who are like, I want 3 shots of mocha, 3 shots of caramel, 2 shots of espresso, whatever the hell they want to put.
That's really the only reason I order on the apps is because they put way too much fucking flavoring in it when I ask for like a mocha, right? They'll put like 3 shots, and I'm like, motherfucker, no, I want like 1. Otherwise, it tastes like I'm drinking chocolate syrup and not coffee.
Yeah, true.
All right. Anyway, back to the wrestling, Bryon. This is not a regular podcast. This is a wrestling podcast. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because God knows we have some stuff to talk about, especially on the Smackdown front. Well, yes, you are right. Smackdown. We got Smackdown on Friday, and we are trying, at least on this show, to book and predict the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown with enthusiasm and somewhat optimism, I guess. We'll see. But anyway, we are trying to book the next episode, or at least predicting with our bookings based on this rules. And for those of you who are living under a rock, we've just added a couple of new stuff from the last time, or at least the last quote-unquote season of the show. So we've added some stuff regarding backstage segments, as well as other things and the like. You can see it on the screen there. And after we book and predict the next episode of SmackDown, we will then watch the actual next episode when it drops, and then we will score our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system. And you can see there, it is pretty simple. 1 point, and it has to be a perfect match for a lot of the different things happening. So, there you go. Let's get to scores. Fortunately, I have a lot of points. I have no idea how this happened, but I guess I do. I got a point from Raquel Rodriguez winning. I also predicted... Well, my prediction for the Danhausen stuff was pretty vague, but I guess you could count that as a point, because there was a Danhausen backstage segment where Danhausen did something, and someone did get mad. So, there you go. We also got an appearance from just the usual, Cody, Gunther, Charlotte, Rhea, Jade Cargill, and The Takeover, which I think is the name of the faction that Jade Cargill runs. So, there you go. What about you, Mike?
I got exactly 2 points. Really just from... 3 points. Just from the opening segment with Gunther, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes. So.
Okay. There you go. Well, hopefully this week gives you some more points, but we shall see as we take a look at what is announced. So, we got a King during qualifying match with Jey Uso versus LA Knight versus Royce Keys versus Finn Balor in a fatal 4-way match. And we also have a Queen of the Ring qualifying match as Sol Ruka takes on Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill in a fatal 4-way match. We also have Gunther explaining, or at least declaring, the stipulation for his eventual rematch with Cody Rhodes. And I think that's it. So, without further ado, let's book this thing. Head to my version of the show first, as Julia, yes, Julia, walks to the ring. As you may remember, there was a bit of a betrayal last week where Julia was sort of betrayed by Kiana James. We're going to have Julia come out, and she talks about how she was betrayed by one Kiana James. She goes all sympathetic with the crowd, and I guess you could say this is her face turn. And she tries to have the crowd be her ally and, do all the typical face stuff. And she asks Kiana why she would do such a thing and, what can cause her to do this. She's then interrupted by Kiana James, who says that their alliance basically brought no results because Julia got the Women's US Championship only to lose it again, just like the first time. This time, she will try to get the Women's US Championship, and she will hold it for a longer time than Julia ever did combined. She then calls Julia, a B-word or something. They've been calling each other B-words. Not Julia and Kiana, but, other wrestlers. Just B-words all over the place. So, I guess we're going to have it happen here. Raise the edge up. Julia gets heated up by that. They both fight. They cause a brawl on the ring. And I guess this will be a match at Night of Champions? I guess? I don't know. I don't know where this is going. And honestly, I don't think people are interested with this Julia and Kiana James stuff. So, I don't know. I just think that this whole thing, hopefully this gets Julia to a better position popularity-wise, but I don't know if they should turn her face and do this whole sympathetic crybaby kind of thing, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll move on to the Queen of the Ring qualifying match as Sol Ruka takes on Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill in a fatal 4-way. I will have Lyra Valkyria win by pinfall after distractions from Jade's backup dancers. Oh, sorry. I mean the takeover. And Becky Lynch happen on their respective opponents. Becky Lynch with Lyra, Charlotte Flair with the, takeover. And Charlotte Flair as well. So, Charlotte Flair only. And, I think Lyra Valkyria kind of doesn't have anything going on. So why not give it to her, I guess? They gave it to Javon last week for the King of the Ring, so I don't see why they would give it to Lyra. So there you go. Backstage segment as Danhausen does some shenanigans. I don't really have much here. I'll just copy and paste from the last time and get a free point for that.
Can I interject in this Danhausen segment, Brian? To give you another tidbit? Okay. Last night, as recording this on the Thursday before Smackdown, it is currently June 11th, so last night was June 10th. The Knicks, the New York Knicks, who were famously uncursed by Danhausen, went down by 25 points and came back to win the game with a game-winning tip at the final buzzer. That is the biggest comeback in NBA Finals history. I don't know what he does in his spare time, but I mean, this is getting a little bit out of hand, Brian.
Are you saying Danhausen must be stopped?
I'm saying he might legitimately have like magic powers. Also,
come on, man.
The pop he's going to receive at Madison Square Garden if the Knicks win is going to be on the level of like Stone Cold helping Mankind to win the title.
Oh yeah, for sure. it's gonna be full on just
They
cheers.
might actually
The t-shirt
they might
sales
actually
are gonna
build
go
him a
through the roof.
statue.
Oh, I hope so. If the Knicks win, yeah, I do hope so that they get a statue for Danhausen. Even though I don't think Danhausen is from New York, but whatever. Anyway, kind of like how Philadelphia kind of. Well, I don't think it counts, but the whole Philadelphia Cody Rhodes situation, kind of like that, I guess. But, more involved, I guess. But, yeah, no. Danhausen, he is not to be reckoned with. Don't mess with Danhausen, man. He will curse you if you don't like him. So, he has powers. What can I say? Anyway, I don't know where this is going. Like, Kit Wilson and The Miz are still beefing with Danhausen, and I think Danhausen is probably going to reveal the tall guy at... Not in Saudi, I can tell you that. I don't think Saudi deserves Danhausen, first of all. But probably around Saturday Night's main event, but I don't really even know how they can keep this whole charade going and make it interesting until... Saturday Night's main event in July, or even SummerSlam. So, yeah, I think we're heading towards another tag team match where instead of the small guy helping out Danhausen, it's a tall guy helping out Danhausen, and his name is potentially Baron Corbin. We will move on to Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. This is a match for the US Championship. I think this happens because Ricky Saints won last week, I think. So, naturally, it gives him a case to take on Trick for the US Championship. As usual, I will have Trick Williams win by pinfall. And after the match, Ricky Saints, he holds out his hand for Trick to shake. I guess we're trying to make Trick a face now. So, Ricky Saints kind of holds out his hand to shake, as I said earlier. But he ends up doing a beatdown on Trick instead. And Ricky leaves the ring, kind of crashing out a bit. So, I think with this, there might be a rematch, but there is a sort of number one contender match later on in the card to have Trick's next challenger. And we'll find out as we kind of move on to Brie Bella versus Lainey Reed. So, this happens because Fatal Influence attacked Brie Bella and Paige backstage. And I guess this is to build up the eventual match for the Women's Tag Team Championships between Fatal Influence, whichever two members they are, and Brie Bella and Paige. I will have Lainey Reed win by pinfall after a distraction from the rest of the Fatal Influence. After the match, they beat up Brie Bella and Paige, and they leave the ring. So I think this is going to go into a situation where Brie and Paige will have to recruit some other face wrestler to get Fatal Influence to kind of even the playing field. It could be Rhea. It could be some other female, maybe a legend, maybe someone from NXT. I'm kind of counting on this being a Night of Champions match because I'm pretty sure that Saudi will pay a lot of money for a popular wrestler, male or female, to return. I'm pretty sure that is eventually going to happen. I will be betting, well, not betting, but I'll be predicting a kind of 6-woman tag between Fatal Influence and Brie, Bella, and Paige, and whoever they want to bring out for a return. Maybe AJ Lee. I don't know, but whatever Saudi wants, I suppose. So there you go. We will move on to Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. Now this happens because of a backstage segment last week where Sami Zayn kind of confronts Chad after kind of crashing out a bit. I will have Chad Gable win by pinfall, and this makes Sami kind of, crash out. A lot of crash outs in my card, but whatever. Sami crashes out even more. He kind of looks at Johnny Gargano and rants some more, and Johnny is just, laying there, just, motionless. And I think WWE should position Chad Gable to be kind of in the US title picture. I know there's, some people in there, Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes and all that, which is great. but I think that Chad Gable is going to add a lot of value to the whole US title picture. And if he decides to stay on SmackDown, I think he should be in the running to at least have a match against Trick Williams and sort of try to get a sort of mid-card title there. Because I do think that Chad Gable could potentially be a pretty good Intercontinental or United States champion if WWE decides to let him have it. And I do think he has potential as that, basically. Sort of, I guess, after the whole apology thing with all the other luchadors have rung out. So, anyway, we'll move on to Tiffany Stratton versus Blake Monroe. I will have Blake Monroe win by pinfall. Yes, I will have Blake Monroe debut here. And this happens because Chelsea Green didn't show up for the distraction. So Blake Monroe wins, obviously. And Tiffany gets big mad. She will have to confront Chelsea about that issue next week. Chelsea and Tiffany have been having a little bit of a conflict lately. So, I don't know. Maybe that leads to a Women's US Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. We shall see. But, yeah, we're going to have some more seeds of discontent between Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. And maybe they'll have a match at some point in the future. So there you go. King of the Ring qualifying match is next as Jey Uso takes on LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor in a fatal 4-way. I will have, because he has nothing going on, kind of the same logic as the Queen of the Ring qualifying match. Finn Balor wins by pinfall after distractions from the rest of the Bloodline 2000 2.0 and the MFT boil over. I think Finn could have a decent run in the tournament. I don't think he'll be in the finals. Maybe he'll be eliminated in the sort of semifinals around that. But yeah, I think Finn Balor is going to have a decent run here in the tournament and could have a pretty good showing. So there you go. But ultimately, I think Obafemi is going to win. He's going to use it to challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. But we shall see. Maybe Brock Lesnar ruins Obafemi's journey, I guess. But anyway, we'll move on to the main event, which is Gunther announcing the rematch stipulation. Gunther comes out. He says that his rematch with Cody will be legendary because it will finally be made under his rules. He consulted with his own legal team, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it. How does a wrestler have his own, legal team, and how does this legal team not existed beforehand for other wrestlers? I don't know. But somehow Gunther, being a German boy, he has his own legal team. Why not? I don't know. So, anyway, he consulted with his own legal team. He drafted a contract to Nick Aldis for both parties to sign, his party included. He has signed his end of the contract, and he now awaits Cody's. He continues to talk about Cody's nepotism and how everything is handed to him, etc. Silver spoon, he's not really the son of the American dream, all that. But then Cody appears. He says he wants Gunther to announce the stipulation. Enough with the words. It is time to find. I am easy to find, hard to beat. So, you found me. It's time, announce the thing. Gunther urges him to come to the ring and sign the contract to find out what the stipulation is. Cody, being the dumb babyface that he is, he goes in, and Gunther attacks him just brutally. He sort of power bombs him a lot of times. Cody kind of gets some blood going, and, going out of his body, I guess. And we'll have Gunther sort of taking some of that Cody's blood and signing it, at least his part of the contract, in Cody's own blood. Gunther then announces that it will be a last man standing match. And Gunther sort of takes his contract, gives it to Nick Aldis, who comes out along with other folks to tend to Cody, and leaves, kind of smiling and laughing as the show goes off the air. So hopefully, I think Gunther wins this rematch, and I think this rematch with the last man standing stipulation will deliver, hopefully, better than the one in Clash in Italy, because I think the one in Clash in Italy was good, but it was sort of lacking. It was way, well, I wouldn't say way, but it was kind of too short for what it was, and it felt like it was definitely a sort of stage one in this rivalry between Gunther and Cody, so yeah. Could I see Cody, once again, turning the rules and sort of messing up Gunther's plans? Possibly. I mean, last man standing match, there's, some ways you could try to circumvent the rules and all that. But I do think last man standing match is probably going to be the stipulation for this rematch. And hopefully Gunther wins, unless Cody kind of comes up with yet another way to circumvent the rules and be a heel, finally. I don't know. Any questions?
Where do you think Sami Zayn fits into this? Do you think he gets involved in the match?
Yes, so the whole Sami Zayn thing, it feels like, I don't know, Sami Zayn is kind of all over the place. I think he's in the US title picture, but he's also part of this whole Cody Gunther thing. So it's kind of hard to, pin him in terms of what they are going to do with Sami. I do feel like this is going to be sort of... I could see him interfering in the rematch. In the last man standing match, I guess you could, have him be part of the finish, where Sami tries to screw over Cody, but he ends up kind of screwing Gunther with a sort of another dusty, controversial finish, and then Cody wins again. Or, maybe Sami kind of betrays Cody, and that's how Gunther wins. I do think Sami is going to take some part in sort of determining the outcome of that match. So, for sure, I think he is either going to be Cody's downfall, or, Cody could use that to his advantage and keep the title for a little while longer, and then, Gunther goes big mad again. I don't know. But, yeah, I do think Sami is going to be part of it. Yeah. I don't know if that answers it, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah. I think this is setting up Sami for an eventual title run. Getting him in the picture is sort of what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So I kind of hate this phase of Sami Zayn, though, where he just sort of like a Karen and just is complaining about everything. It's like, don't, just be about it, man.
Well, he sees a water bottle, he just throws it to the floor, and he's gonna do it every week until he gets what he wants, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know, man. Sami Zayn hates water bottles. Anyway, any other questions?
What do you think happens with the U.S. title? I know Trick Williams hasn't defended it in a while. He hasn't done any open challenges like have been happening recently. It seems like they're going back to Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints.
Yeah.
So, do you see either of them getting a title at some point? It seems like Carmelo is perpetually stuck in the mid-card right now.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. The whole US title picture, I think... this is another reason why I think Chad Gable would be a great sort of element in that US title picture. Because it kind of presents some sort of more possibilities for different matches between the different folks. You can have Chad Gable versus Carmelo Hayes, or Sami Zayn, Chad Gable versus, not Trick Williams, but it could be a pretty good match. But I'm just saying that there are a lot of possibilities 4 different matches between. It allows for more variety, is what I'm saying. And I think Chad Gable would be a great element of that. Because over on Raw, you have, some decent guys. You got Ethan Page, you got Rusev, you got Penta. You also have some other folks in there, if they want to go. I think Raw is pretty good. I don't think they need a Chad Gable at this point. Whereas SmackDown, I feel like they need all the help they can get. And I would rather have Chad Gable go there than, over on Raw. So, anyway, so I for now, I do think that the US title picture is going to consist of Trick Williams and, Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints. They're probably just gonna, produce some matches between, those men. And we're gonna sort of hot potato the number 1 contender thing. And then we're gonna insert Chad Gable in there to sort of liven it up a little bit. And potentially introduce some really good matches in there, as I said earlier. So I do think Chad Gable, if he decides to go to SmackDown, or if WWE decides to put him on SmackDown, I think Chad Gable should be in the running for the US title and have him be sort of the next contender after Carmelo and Ricky. So
okay, I can definitely see Chad making a run for the main event scene. But I think after being tied in this El Grande Americano storyline for so long, I think he does need a run at the U.S. title. They have this opportunity that they seem to fumble quite often, where it seems like the same thing as LA Knight a couple of years ago when he was going against Roman Reigns, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, they have a guy who has a massive amount of support, right? They have a guy who's a massive babyface at this point, and that is what Chad Gable has become with this storyline that he just finished. And I think that if they return him to being a comedy character, it's just going to be a massive fumble. But, that's par for the course right now with this company, so...
I don't think they're gonna have Chad Gable be a comedic character. I think from what I can gather from the whole, apologizing tour that he's been doing, I feel like WWE is going to turn Chad Gable into a more serious character. And I guess you could, I guess you could say, you could pair him up with the Creed brothers, I guess, as well. I don't know where the Creed brothers are going to go after this. I mean, they literally have nothing else to do after the whole Mask versus Mask debacle. So you could probably have Chad Gable partner up with them, have a little faction going. Yeah, I know you like factions, so here's another one. But I do think Chad Gable has that main event potential as well. I just feel like if they decide to put him in that spot, it would be way too early at this point. I feel like they would probably put him in a more mid-card spot first, just to see, if he can float there. And then once he is ready, and the whole, Cody Rhodes, Gunther situation and all that is wrapped up, then you could probably, I could see this maybe next year, maybe have Chad Gable kind of be in the running there. But I think it's too early at this time, what with the whole apologizing tour and all that. So put him in some mid-card angles first. Maybe have him be in the running for a mid-card title. And just, take it and run with it. See if he is good enough to hold a higher title than the mid-card. Then position him to be on there when the time comes. So
yeah. I definitely think that Chad deserves a little bit of a push after what he's done.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right. I think I'm ready for my card.
All right. Well, let's move on to your card then, starting off with...
We have a Gunther promo. So Gunther comes out. I believe, I forgot to tell you this earlier. Another thing that is announced for tonight. I forget if you said this or not. Gunther will be announcing that the stipulation for the match this week for him against Cody.
Yeah,
okay, good.
I did say that earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think Gunther comes out, and he is about to announce the stipulation for the match. But Sami Zayn interrupts him, comes out again to complain yet again, because Sami is a massive complainer nowadays. And he tells Gunther, he lets him finish, and Gunther says that it will be a submission match for the title. And then Sami gets Nick Aldis, or says that he got Nick Aldis to book a match for tonight in the main event between Sami and Gunther. So there you go. There's your main event. Yes.
Wow. Sami Zayn versus Gunther. Interesting. Okay, so are you positioning Sami Zayn as more of an anti-Cody, but still he supports Cody kind of deal, or is he more of like I like Cody, I'm gonna defend him with everything. He just doesn't like me after all I'm doing for him. Like where do you see this sort of Sami in terms of his kind of business with Cody?
I see him as more of a tweener, so he's more of a in between. Obviously, he wants the title, but he's friends with Cody. I think that this comes down to maybe Sami makes a mistake at some point down the line that costs Cody the title. Definitely see that happening. I would like to see Sami turn heel again, but that's not going to happen.
Oh.
Because he's gonna have to be a face come the Royal Rumble. So.
Oh yeah. Which kind of again, it makes it weird that the people sort of started turning on him, but yeah, no, it's going to be a sort of delicate situation, especially what's coming up next year for Sami. But yeah. Anyway, did you announce the stipulation?
It is going to be, yeah.
I think it's
going to be I think it's going to be a submission match.
Whoa, submission. Okay. Huh. Okay, so with that match, I guess you could potentially have Cody sort of try to once again, mess with the rules. Could you see Sami sort of intervening here, or do you think it's just Cody
I could see Sami interfering here. I don't think Cody. Did Cody really mess with the rules in the last match? I mean, I thought it was more the ref who just fucked up. Or that was the story anyway. It was the ref didn't look. So. But yeah, I can see Sami helping him out, and then Cody not wanting it. And then there being a feud afterwards between Cody and Sami.
Well, okay.
Lots of ways this can go, Bryon.
A lot of ways, for sure. I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But we both know that the end goal is Sami getting that title next year. So there you go. Anyway, we'll move on from that to
the Queen of the Ring qualifying match. You have Sol Ruka versus Lyra Valkyria versus Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill. I think Charlotte wins this one. They lost last week, I believe, when it was Jade plus Michin and B-Fab who are being called the Takeover, I guess. They are going to not take over in this match, and Charlotte is going to win. So I think that Michin and B-Fab try to interfere on behalf of Jade, but Rhea and Alexa Bliss come out to even the odds, and Charlotte is able to pick up the win. So
that That was actually my first pick, Charlotte. I thought Charlotte was sort of on the winner's side, but I feel like with the Javon win and sort of the unexpected way that he won, I feel like they're gonna try again with Lyra, and she doesn't really have anything going on. But I did at first pick Charlotte, but all right. I mean, it's it's a sensible pick for sure. Could you possibly see Charlotte winning the whole
I
tournament?
could, yes, because then you have an interesting story between her and Rhea. So,
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So you think this will go to Charlotte versus Rhea at SummerSlam? All right. Would you have Rhea sort of going over at SummerSlam if that match were to happen?
um, no, I think you can put it back on Charlotte. I think Charlotte can turn heel, and then put it back on Charlotte, and then you have a Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss feud.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay. I kind of like that. But I don't know if the WWE will ever run with it, but all right. Fair enough. We'll move on from that to
The Irresistible Forces have a backstage segment. Nia Jax.
why.
What?
I just said why.
They have one because apparently now they are feuding with Tiffany and Chelsea. So I'm thinking that either Lash Legend or Nia Jax is going after the U.S. title. I'm gonna say Nia Jax in this scenario is going after the U.S. title. So she calls out Tiffany Stratton. And I think this is our feud heading into SummerSlam. So,
Oh my god.
yes, baby.
I'm sorry.
Nia Jax is back.
Okay. I guess you have that match up next, correct?
I do not. No,
Or is it later?
it is later.
Okay. Well, all right. I guess I'll ask the question then. Are you putting Nia Jax into the whole champion picture? Are you gonna have her win a title once again?
I could see her winning with the help of Lash Legend. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Would you potentially see, who would you see as sort of the first sort of opponent for Nia if she got the title?
Maybe Chelsea Green. It seems like they're going to turn Chelsea Green face, or she is in the process of being turned face. So,
Okay. Yeah. Chelsea Green versus Nia Jax? Sure, why not? Okay. Fair enough. We'll move on from that to
we have a Paige and Brie Bella promo. So Paige and Brie call out Fatal Influence for attacking them last week. And they have a tag team match booked for King and Queen of the Ring that will determine the championship. I think what happens here is Nikki Bella comes out and confronts both Paige and Brie because now she is healed.
whoa.
And they need to have a talk about who is going to actually defend this title. And I think this leads to a possible mini feud after they lose the title between like Brie and or Paige and Nikki. I don't know. We're running it back like it's 2012. We're having Divas feuds all over again.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you're gonna have Nikki come back on SmackDown. That's interesting. I thought they would probably. I was thinking they would drag it out, the whole return, drum up a little bit of uncertainty, and then surprise, Nikki comes back at Saudi. But okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I guess could you possibly see a sort of conflict brewing between Paige and Nikki,
Yes.
and they would have their own feud.
Yes, I can
Okay.
see that happening. I don't know where that takes place. I don't know how long Paige's contract is for. So,
All right. Yeah, I mean, the Saudis, I mean, they love nostalgia acts. So, I mean, this match, I mean, potentially could be very big
John Cena came out
for
the other
them.
day and said that it would be financial suicide for someone to try and pay him for another match. And I was like, don't say that because you know what's gonna happen.
Oh, come on, Sean. Someone is gonna, get you a letter from Saudi asking
$500 million probably.
Yeah. How are you gonna say no to that, John? Come on, man. Anyway. Either way, I think the whole, women's tag team championship match at Saudi, I mean, that would be great. I mean, you got a lot of the nostalgia acts there, so that would be great. Anyway, could you see Fatal Influence getting the title if they decide to go through with this in Saudi?
Yes, I could. I can see them winning because I don't know. Again, I don't know how long the contracts of Paige and Brie are here for. So it seems like Fatal Influence are going to be a presence on SmackDown for a while. So I think putting the belts on them early could be a way to have a heel faction at least in place for another face tag team.
All right.
Possibly Tiffany
Yeah.
and Chelsea, maybe.
Yeah. Or Lyra and Bailey, but Lyra's in the tournament, so yeah. A bunch of other teams. Yeah, for sure. All right, fair enough. We'll move on from that to
The aforementioned Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green versus Irresistible Forces match. So last week, Chelsea had a second of her two matches against this tag team. This time she lost to Lash Legend. She tried to get Tiffany out there to help her, but Tiffany was already busy helping Charlotte Flair, I guess. So I think this week she does have the spare time to help Chelsea, and I think they win. So I think Chelsea is starting to turn face.
wow.
So
Is this a good thing?
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, she does have a lot of fan support, so I think she definitely can do it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have much to say here. I've already asked my questions about Irresistible Forces earlier, so we'll just move on then to
The LA Knight Memorial backstage segment. LA Knight
would you
is
say memorial?
interviewed. LA Knight is interviewed about the upcoming match before he heads out there. And he says what he's been saying for the past week, that he is going to win this and punch his ticket to the semifinals. He's going to overcome the Golden Jobber label and win the King of the Ring tournament. But I don't think that's happening, unfortunately, because he is the Golden Jobber. So
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, potentially LA Knight could win. I mean, they've kind of started the push, but I do understand that they fumbled LA Knight
I
so many times. So
I will see it. I'll believe it when I see it, Brian.
okay. I don't think. Okay, so I could see WWE running back LA Knight versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. They could also try to run back Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. But either way, I think the option for either Obafemi or someone else in that tournament is a much better option than Jey Uso or LA Knight. I'm sorry. But Obafemi versus Roman Reigns is just a much better match proposition than Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns or LA Knight versus Roman Reigns. So I do think, yeah, no, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Mike. I'm gonna have to believe it when I see it. But yeah, not a lot of enthusiasm there. But anyway, I guess we'll move on to the burial now. Is that match is next, right?
Yes, we have the men's King of the Ring qualifying match. Finn Balor versus Royce Keys versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight. This is probably the biggest match of the four that we've had. I think anyone in here could go to the next round. It's literally a 50-50-50. Oh, jeez. Doing my Steiner math here. Is 25% chance for each person in this match to win. I think... And I got
Did you
this
put
from
his
the internet.
50% chance of winning?
Yeah, if you look at me and you look at
33.
Finn Balor, Finn Balor knows he can't beat me, so now I got a 50% chance to win. So I think that Finn Balor wins this match. I saw this on the internet. And here's how I think, and I kind of agree with it, because it's a very okay. I only agree with it because I think it's cool, not because I think it's correct. I think if I had to put the correct King of the Ring winner, which I probably will in the next episode, but you never know. I think what happens here is because Royce Keys is distracted by Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa. He's been feuding with them. Jey Uso and LA Knight have been beefing. They're gonna, take each other out. So I think Finn takes advantage of this situation and is able to pin one of them and take the win. I think he goes on to fight Javon Evans and wins. I think that Dominic manages to win against Obafemi because of Brock Lesnar coming out and taking out Obafemi in his match. And that gives Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar the match at SummerSlam. And I think that the final is Dominic versus Finn Balor. And I think... Yes. And I think what probably happens is Finn wins it and goes on to challenge probably Roman at SummerSlam and loses.
Wow.
Could also be Dominic too. Could also have a Dominic face turn too.
Oh god.
I know that people have been saying that for a while, but
no, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I think people have associated Dominic Mysterio with the whole dirty, dumb kind of gimmick. I don't think they will ever turn him face. Not really. I think he's way too popular as a bad guy that they wouldn't risk sort of turning him into a good guy. But I really didn't think about that whole Dom versus Finn Balor kind of finals. Now that I think of it, it may be the play that WWE is looking for. So, yeah, I mean, Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, I feel like it's been done before, but I mean, it could still be a decent match, that's for sure, but it's still kind of predictable, so yeah. No, I could definitely see that for sure. We'll move on from that to...
We have an El Grande Americano, the actual El Grande Americano this time. Backstage segment. He and the Americanos meet up with the War Raiders, who showed up last week on SmackDown. I don't know if you know this, Bryan, but the War Raiders are apparently the AAA tag team champions.
Yeah.
So there you go. I think that this is probably going to be hyping a Americanos versus War Raiders tag team championship match at whenever the next AAA event is. And yeah, I think they're going to use the popularity of that mask versus mask match to try and sell this tag team match as well. Yes. And I think what also happens here is that El Grande Americano calls out Dominic Mysterio for his AAA title. I think that El Grande Americano is nuclear levels of hot right now. This man is not even Mexican. He's
He's a German.
He's a German in Mexico, and he is uber popular. And I think that they need to put the AAA belt on him as soon as tomorrow. And I think he's going to get a title shot against Dominic where he wins it. And that frees up Dominic to go further in the King of the Ring tournament and try to beat Finn. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say AAA cares more about tag team wrestling than WWE. So there you go. But also, I do think that El Grande Americano is going to challenge Dominic Mysterio for the AAA title, and I do think he is going to win. So I will agree with that. I guess the question is, could potentially El Grande Americano, could he sort of, get into a position where he could potentially sort of lose that match against Dom and then maybe go to Raw or SmackDown, I guess, and try to get the Intercontinental or US titles, I suppose. Maybe get into... maybe supposedly build him up into, the next sort of feud with Chad Gable. You never know. But, I don't know. Could you potentially him sort of losing the titles, Dom? Or do you think, definitively this is his time?
I think this is his time, man.
Okay.
He's got massive levels of popularity, so.
Okay. And I guess the Los Americanos are going to help him out too. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, that was a useless question. Anyway, we'll move on from that to
the main event: Sami Zayn versus Gunther. I think Gunther wins via submission. I think Cody comes in afterwards to try and save Sami Zayn from Gunther's beatdown. And yeah, we're just furthering the storyline between these two. I hope that Gunther wins against Cody finally, because Cody is getting kind of stale.
Oh, come on. Don't you like his catchphrase, bro? That he's trying to get over?
No, I don't. I don't. He needs to go.
Come on.
He needs to be off TV for a little bit because he's getting quite stale. So.
Okay. I feel like him kind of bending the rules and sort of, using his ring IQ. I feel like I've said this earlier, but this is sort of a response to people saying like, hey, he's too much of a white meat babyface. Oh, he's kind of too one-dimensional. He's boring. I feel like this is his response to that criticism. Do you think it's working? Or do you think this is more like...
What, him being more...
Working...
Him being more like gritty, more like...
Well, working in terms of, like, do you think that people's perception of Cody as a sort of boring kind of wrestler, one-dimensional, do you think that perception has changed ever since he sort of, did this whole Clash in Italy finish, and, he started implementing some dirty heel tactics, kind of, recently in his matches? Like, do you feel like that turned around people's perception of Cody, or do you feel like the people are still sort of, making?
I think people are still against him. Yeah, I think they're just against him being the champion.
Okay.
And I think they, even though he's working a different style now, I think they still want a different champion. So.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely one of the more, the chase is better than, the championship kind of deal. Yeah, for sure. All right. If Gunther wins, who do you think the first opponent would be? If it's not Cody.
I could see Royce Keys being his first defense.
Whoa. Okay.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
So those would both be really good.
All right. Yeah. Sami Zayn could be pretty good for sure. And Royce Keys too.
So having Gunther keep it through till next WrestleMania and having it be Sami Zayn versus Gunther could be a pretty good one, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Sami Zayn works really, really well as an underdog.
Oh, he does. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a clear road to the whole him winning the title at WrestleMania next year at Saudi. So, anyway, yeah, that's about it. That's all we got for our predictions and bookings for the next episode of SmackDown as we head into Clash of Champions in Riyadh. Is it Riyadh? I don't know. Some Saudi Arabia city. Who knows? But yeah, as I said earlier, we will watch the next episode of Friday Night SmackDown as it drops. We will score our predictions and bookings, the ones that we laid out to you here. And then next week, or next time, we will tell you what we got, and then we'll do a whole thing again. So, until then, thank you for ordering a slice of probably next week on SmackDown from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.